From the great halls of their house, there assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. There's soon to be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be millionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with us and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
We ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are the people ready for this? I doubt it. Anyway, all right, let's roll. Welcome to our new podcast. We are the Garage Heroes in Training Racing Team, and we'd like to welcome you to our extended team. Our goal is to help reduce the inertia towards getting everybody out there to race their car. It could be with us at an amateur endurance race or at a local track event or at a local autocross. It really doesn't matter. We hope to show you that if you have ever had any interest in driving your car close to the limit, there really is no reason you can't come out and give it a go. We hope to be able to help you see that anyone can do it, even us. So come out with us and enjoy the ride. I'm your host for this episode, Bill.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Alan.
So this episode is going to be pretty simple. We're going to go with what we've been working on, and then we do actually have a listener question, which is pretty impressive since this is our first episode. So, and then most of the day we'll be spending covering what happened at our New Hampshire race last week in New Hampshire Motor Sport Park, and the debacle that we made that. So, Vicky, what you been working on this week?
Resting after the race. It was a lot of work getting ready for the race with the theming and the organizing and getting all of our supply ready. And being at the race was pretty much running on adrenaline most of the time. So after that race, I'm wiped. But I do know that Three Pedal Mafia will be coming Thanksgiving weekend to our part of the state, and are going to be helping us. So I'm prepping the place for their visit right now and getting ready for the fall and just general catch up. How about you?
All right, Alan, what you been up to?
Let's see. Well, the rain just hit, so we're trying to stay out of the rain as much as we can. We've been taking a look at the race truck there to see what we can do. Looks like we found some pieces we might be able to do, a little front spoiler splitter situation going on, and a couple skateboard ramps we're gonna just stash on the roof in the bed somewhere to see what looks funny. Let's see. We're checking on tires. I think we probably could use one fresh set of tires for the pickup truck for the upcoming races. And what else? That's about it. We're almost done with quarter one at school, so that's always fun.
Cool. All right. Well, it's been kind of a catch-up week for me with the travel for last week and the race. So a lot of work on our end. We had to do some returns of some tools we bought. The tools came in and the case had been damaged, so we ended up getting a second case. But the tools were awesome. I think the cabinet helped us out at the race getting organized a little bit.
I love that cabinet. The cabinet was awesome.
Yes.
Since it's got every slot identified, we can have no excuses for losing stuff, as we have done superiorly at every other race. So I think we left with X number of tools, and we came back with X number of tools, as opposed to usually coming back with like X minus 15. So that's better. And then trying to get everything set up for the work on the truck, and going back and forth with the team for the Atlanta race, and letting work interfere with all our good racing. So, that's my problem. But anyway, so in the future, we'd like to have listener questions. The best way to give us a question is either send us an email, or even better is give us a rating on iTunes, assuming we ever get up on iTunes. We still haven't gotten there yet. We're working on it. And just give us a rating, and in the comment section, leave your question, and we should be good to go. And we'll answer them every time we can. And sometimes we'll even have a good answer, but that will be few and far between. So, first question we got came through on our Instagram account, which is creatively titled Garage Heroes in Training, which is also our Facebook account and also our website. So they asked, how did we get into this Lemons racing thing? They had never heard about it. And this came from Jeff D in Pennsylvania, down near Philly.
So, Bill, how did we get into it?
Well, we made lots of bad decisions and continued down the path. And oh, sorry. Well, I had known about it for many years, and we had tried to come up with different ways to do racing on the sideline. And most of them were rejected by the family CFO, who happens to be one of the hosts on
Hello.
this show. And that would be you, yes. I showed you a episode from Everyday Drivers on their Lemons race down in Washington, well, up in Washington last year, and showed you that it's a $500 race car, and you didn't ask too many more questions, so I just left it at that, and there we
Yeah.
started. So we bought our first car in while we were vacationing with the family in Disney, literally at Epcot Center, and we bought a 74 Capri from Team Pump Critical, and they had another 84 Mustang GT Turbo from the same team, and we ended up going down there twice and picking up both cars. So that was the beginning of this endeavor, and that's how we really got started.
I liked again the idea of when Bill had showed me the race, it kind of fit into our wheelhouse because we all suffer from Peter Pan syndrome, and so it kind of combined, auto racing with not taking yourself too seriously, and there's a lot of theming to the cars, which some of them, I mean, most of them are just hysterical and creative. So it's auto racing and kind of a little bit of like Halloween at the same time. Um, you can choose to decorate your car up. You can choose just to leave it the way it is. Um, there really is no pressure. Just the idea is just to get out and race and have a good time. It 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 is a little bit. I do have to say, it's a little bit pricey to get started. I think if you have all your gear, and you genuinely, whether you have a garage or you generally are involved with cars anyway and do your own repairs, I think it would be a little less expensive for you. But it kind of reminds me of ski season, where the startup will probably, be a, be a little bit, but once you kind of get moving, it's very simple, and people in the garages will drop to help you with no matter what, which is another thing that I love. And then we kinda brought Alan in. He kinda Alan kinda dropped us, Alan's an old friend of ours from where we used to live in Connecticut, and, he kinda dropped us a little line that said, "Hey, that's very cool, that's kinda interesting," and me and Bill's little alarms went off, go, "Hey, he's a mechanic." So we invited Alan along.
And we're not.
Yes, and
Yes.
Alan 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 lights up like a light bulb every time that he starts getting involved with this. So, Alan, how about you?
Yeah, it was just a request like, hey, what's going on? We got a race coming up in Connecticut. And, geographically speaking, I was closer to the racetrack than you were. So,
Yes.
ta-da, whatever that means. No, it was quite an eye opener. I hadn't actually heard of the series myself. So, checking it out. I'm always happy to have a good track day, get the smell of gear oil and some exhaust in your hair. Nothing
Yeah,
better
just
than
found
that.
out gear oil is not the same as what was the thing I was confusing with? Transmission fluid. Whoops.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's all the same.
It sounds good.
Uh,
Good gears in a transmission. I figured it was good.
yeah, it's close. So so that's just right up my alley. Just looking at these shall I say pieces of junk they brought to the track as race cars. It was pretty impressive to see what they could do and how they can hold together and do some good stuff out there. Yeah, that's how I got involved. And then we went racing the second time, and then Bill, dropped off broken trailer with a flat tire at the house. So there's that.
Well, that way you get free equipment. So
Exactly. I already used the jack once already in the stand, so thanks.
nice. Hey, it's what I'm here for. I'm a giver. So if you guys feel like doing this and you feel like starting up, I know Vicky talked about how much the expenses are to start up, because you got to buy safety gear, full suits, helmets, whole deal. I think the recommendation from all three of us, and probably everybody on our team, is unless you are a really experienced mechanic who has welding skills, I think the best plan is to go buy a used car from another team.
Mhm.
Ideally, if it's sorted out, even better. It may cost you more than the $500 that is advertised, but putting in all the other safety equipment, especially the roll cage, and doing all that work, it's a little intimidating. Lemons purposely leaves the rule book a little open and vague, so even if you read it, you don't really know what they're saying. So I would go that way. Alan, did you have something?
Well, the other, you know what?
Alan sounds a lot like
Oh, I
Vicky right
know.
now.
I'm sorry. The other thing is that there's room for failure for tech unless you know exactly what you need to walk into. So having a car from a former Lemons team already prepared is helpful. That as you ease into it, you'll better understand the rules and the requirements by pretty much everybody else failing. So there's that.
We lost Alan.
Oh, yes. So yeah. So there's as for the pricey part, yeah, I found that to be the best way to go. Our last race, actually, um, the kids out there had a roll bar professionally done, and then they got there and right in tech, the roll bar failed. So their weekend was spent trying to get onto the track by cutting
Roll cage.
their
Yeah.
their roll bar system out, and getting a donor roll bar, which didn't work. So yeah, the easiest way is to get a prepared car so you know what needs to
Yeah,
happen
because
next.
one of our plans is, eventually to make our own car from scratch, but we are still emphasizing the in training part of our team. So I don't think we're able to do that. We do have to
Hmm.
repair one of our cars this winter, and that'll be our first transplant of an engine and a transmission. So that's going to take a little bit more skill than we have currently,
Hmm.
except we now have Alan helping us out, and we are learning. Although when you start from zero, there is a long way to go before you get up to knowing what you're talking about. So, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what? Also, there's mechanics and then there's creative mechanics. Um, Creative mechanics are very good too, when they kind of look at a problem and realize, hey, I don't have everything that I might need. So you might have to improvise on some aspects of your engine. Um, so that is a helpful situation also. But granted, if you can even grab a mechanic, especially one that welds, um, and that can diagnose very very fast, it is incredible. But even then, if you not able to help diagnose a car, there are people in the paddocks that can kind of look and say, hey, have you tried this? Hey, have you tried that? So yeah, when we brought that one car in, we literally had 8 guys underneath the hood,
and two and a panda
just
and
you know
and a shark.
and a panda and a shark. Yeah, um, so that helps. What about the startup situation for Alan? What did you think about your aspects of general startup in this?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it. The one, for me personally, to get in the car and race, I had to get a full suit. Well, listen, the only way you're going to get on a racetrack anywhere ever is to have a suit. So you got to have that somewhere, whether you can borrow one or you buy one. I just went out and bought the stuff used, like you guys had said, and it worked out great. My brother bought a set from eBay for under $200 for the driver's suit alone. Um, and it was a couple pieces here and there. It's nothing. I would say that would be that crazy. Definitely buying a car from someone else that's working is an awesome idea.
Hmm.
You guys went the full route and got a covered trailer, which is great, so you can store your stuff in it. Likewise, you could also just rent the trailer for the weekend,
Hmm.
if that's a possibility. If you have a pickup truck, and then that would lower your startup cost again as well. Not as convenient as having a covered trailer, but certainly not as expensive either.
Hmm.
I would say that the startup wasn't, for me, wasn't bad since you guys had the cars,
Yeah.
right? So you
And,
guys went and bought used cars. I just stepped in to keep them running and do some racing.
yes. I think also that it would be a great idea that maybe on our website we can go ahead and post our startup list of I mean, granted, there is a lot on it and it could be edited down, but it's a good base to get started, depending on whether you camp versus whether you rent a hotel.
Are you
um,
talking about my monster Excel spreadsheet?
Absolutely. I think we should post that on our website,
Okay.
that they can pull from. It's a great startup. There's a lot of extra stuff on there, but fit it to suit your needs. Um, and
And if you're having any trouble sleeping at night, just read the website and
yeah,
it'll put you.
but again, certainly break it down between whether you choose to stay at a hotel versus whether you choose to bring your camper.
We have it sectioned off, so
Yes.
we should be good.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know I was going to get assignments from this podcasting thing, but okay, I'll do it.
The Garage Heroes in Training are here to save you from following in their footsteps.
All right. So, next thing we worked on, we tried getting ready for New Hampshire Motor Sport Park. It was a teammate for the weekend from Three Pedal Mafia, Jeff's favorite track. So he put out a call to arms because his team wasn't going to be able to get their car ready in time, and said if anybody's got a ride or he could do something to help them, he'd be willing to. So I sent in an email to them. They're on the Everyone Racers podcast, which is been going for a little over a year, and it's much better than ours since we've been going for a little over 15 minutes. So Jeff said him and his brother would join us, and they ended up joining us, and we went up there, and most of what we did was prep the Mustang or the Spider Stang, depending on who you're talking to, and prep the Ombre. So, Alan, you want to go into what happened with the Mustang?
The Mustang. The Mustang was a trooper. That thing, coming into the race, I dialed back the boost a bit to try to save the motor some from about 15 and a half. I thought I had down to 11. Turns out under full tilt, it felt more like 12, which apparently doesn't always hold all in the cylinders as you might like, with a smidge of blow-by, as evidenced by our oil cap reseal and subsequent non-reseal of the next weakest link.
I would question your quantification of smidge.
Well, it's a relative term. It's the metric to English conversion. We'll talk about that later. I know you engineers always have trouble with that.
Okay. I forgot the 2.5.
So you know it. So we got that going. Apparently there were some terrible electrical situations that I was not 100% aware of. My interpretation was that the starter was glitchy. So you just, blip the starter on the ignition switch a couple times and it would kick in and start and run, and you had a race car.
Give or take.
It turns out that was the subpar grounding to temporary plate in firewall to engine that was not connected well at all. We did fix that along the way. What else do we have?
Oh, we got a long list. We can go into the list at the track later that I was talking about coming in.
Oh, well, it did. Yeah. Oh, going into the race. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, going into the race, I did the seat mounting, and we did a radiator and a fan shroud. So the seat mounting, we recycled some steel that was getting scrapped at work. I felt like I made a pretty good mounting for it. And then it turns out the track, my bracketry was okay, but the adjuster situation got a little off. Yeah, the slider turned into a non-slider. We just took the same drill bit we bought and just drilled right through it and made it a fixed position. And then we had some cushions, and that worked great. My fan shroud worked out great, though. It held up solid the whole time, didn't fall off. And I think it can be used another day with any luck in the Capri. And by the way, that was my welding class I did. So take a look at that bracketry and the fan shroud and give me some ideas, see what I need to do next for the step 2 of learning to weld with your home welder.
Well, we've got many steps in this learning thing, so the first of many. Did I lose you? Oh,
yes. Yeah, no, I'm here. No. Yeah, so that was the prep ahead of time, and then into the race day. The Mustang did pretty well. We had a little bit of troubles with some grounding. We had some spark plugs that weren't quite fully there. We had some wiring to coils that weren't there. We had some bolts to rotors that weren't always there.
We were under the car more than we were in the car. So Vicky was working on theming of the Ombre. The Ombre, for those of you who know Lemons Racing, was originally, it was the boat. it was El Jefe, it was the Bad Hombre, it was a variety of different things. It was run by Three Pedal Mafia. I think it's run, 12 or 15 races, maybe more. And it seemed to keep adjusting its theme. So they wanted to move on to a new car. So we decided we would get that because at this point in our Lemons racing lifespan, we need to turn laps. The weak spot in the car is usually the driver. And the only way to fix that is to do some education, some practice, and get out there and race. So we bought their car. And the what we ended up doing was we ended up doing the theming, and the theme turned from originally it was going to be a Hulk car because you think pickup truck. We thought the obvious hero on our end would be the Hulk, so we ended up making a pretty large Hulk head out of some Halloween decorations and some foam, and then the talent of Vicky and Jennifer sculpting it and making the head. Unfortunately, we did that over Labor Day weekend. And then the car came the week after, and the head was, I don't know. What do you think, Alan? The size of the cab? Maybe?
Way too big.
Way too big, yeah. So, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And we overdid it. So
But now you have
we
ready
had
for
to adjust the
Halloween.
theme.
So.
We do. Now we have a Hulk head for Halloween because everybody needs one. And so we adjusted the theme. So we started thinking about what we could do. And Vicky and I were talking, and we figured out that there is a team in Marvel Comics that cleans up after the heroes when they devastate an area, called Damage Control, and they have a fairly cool logo and a decent little icon that we could put on the front hood, and we just ended up painting the car like I guess it's like a flat black. Does that count as flat black? I think.
Yes, I would say
And
so.
yeah, and then Vicky did some handwork, and she put the lettering on the side, and she sounds like she's coming back. Lettering
Yes.
on the side, logo on the front. Learned how to airbrush. I did
Airbrushing was a blast.
I did what I usually do when it comes to artistic things: stay out of the way. You want to go into what you're theming?
Oh, so he originally started out as the Hulk. And so we started building the Hulk head. And by building the Hulk head, we had gone out and we purchased a Halloween skull. And it was quite large from Home Depot. And we kind of figured it like from an anthropology scientist kind of perspective, forensic, when we kind of built around the skull, the head. We already had a base. So
Wait, are you watching Bones? Is that what you're doing? Where they take the skull and then they build it up? Is that what you're
yeah,
doing?
it was something like that. Yeah,
Sweet. All right. I
So
got you.
so
Without
we
the face,
built. Yeah. So when you're building these larger props, for us right now, we are experimenting with expanding foam, expanding insulation, because it becomes very, very carvable. Yeah, so we had already built the Hulk head, and we are getting ready to enter the smoothing and painting process when the Ombre, the truck, had shown up, and it was a truck the size of a car, and the Hulk head had a little bit of weight to it, where it caused the hood to bounce. I mean, not the hood, but the roof to bounce up and down. And the size of the truck versus the theme that we had wasn't working out, so we had to quickly change that. So we decided, I think Pete threw the idea out first about being a truck and kind of being something like a cleanup crew, and I ran it by my sister. She's my muse also, bounced some ideas off of her, and she's like, yeah. So we did some searching and came up with Damage Control. Damage Control is the cleanup crew of the Marvel Universe. And they kind of come in after heroes destroy cities, and so we decide to do flat black. I decided to find their logo for the hood and relatively cut that out into layers of templates, and kind of did.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what airbrushing is, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to have some air at the track too. I think you need to express yourself there. I think.
Oh yeah, I think
Just
they might
limiting yourself
mind
to
it on the
home might
wall.
not be enough.
Yeah,
we can find a spot somewhere.
Yeah. So it was a combination of experimenting with shaker cans and different textures of paint, and I'm more used to working with fine art, so shaker cans and airbrushing. This is all new territory, so I did make some mistakes, but I think I pulled it out in the end.
It looked great.
And yeah, and then templates on the side. So that's, I'm telling you, just everybody, just shaker cans. I mean, if you can do it, shaker cans. Everything with a fresh coat of paint looks wonderful. So
They're,
even the stuff that was rusted, didn't care, just painted right over it. It's a
they're
Lemon's
even better
car.
than rattle cans.
Rattle cans, shaker cans, rattle cans. So
Spray
yeah,
paint.
it worked out. It worked out well. They're fun to do. They're fun to theme. Um, they are, they are a bit of work, but I think this time around or next time around, I'm actually going to build myself a paint booth with canopies and tarps. That way I don't have to wait
a-
in between the gusts of wind.
as opposed to an open field of grass that could look like a front yard for some people.
Yes, yes. I have to actually, the weather is temperamental with the wind, so
It's not temperamental. It rains every day.
it does rain every day right now. So anyway, it worked out really well. I was really happy with the result. Um, and it may not stay. It probably won't stay damage control. We'll probably switch it out to something else. But
I have
it
ideas.
yeah, it was good to learn. I am definitely learning from it. I do get a kick out of doing the art stuff.
Learning
So,
is good. Learning is good.
telling you, airbrushing is freaking awesome. I did that towards the end, and I was like, oh, why
It's
didn't I do
fun.
this
It's
earlier?
just and I'm not a big painter person, but I know for you this is going to be an awesome outlet to just play and do just subtle things and big things with it. 'Cause
Yeah,
all my car shows, they're always getting an airbrush in
It's
there
almost,
somewhere.
yeah.
it's almost
So
like you're in training.
yeah, it's almost like I'm in training. That's right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What about the paddock, Vic? Anything going on in paddock plan?
Oh, this time okay, so normally the last two races before this one we had actually we camped out of the garage area. We brought our, we had two trailers brought we one weekend we rented trailers. That was a disaster. But and we usually had set up canopies and worked out of our trailer as our supply area. Um, and this last race, that was a lot of work, especially when you have a lot of teens, and we have a lot of teens on our team, which our teens kind of they're like a drop and go.
Well, they're teens, so
They're
that's
Oh
just
yeah, they're
teens.
absolutely teens.
Doing
I'm not
learning.
faulting them for that. It was just a lot of work, and of course we were not organized with our job stations. So this time around, it was an adults only race. We had one teen come along, and he was invaluable. I mean, your son Bennett is incredible on the
Panda.
team. Panda, racing Panda, yeah.
That's
He,
right.
yeah. So he is definitely a kid who does not like to sit still for very long, and he likes to play on the radios and keep track of everything that's going on. He is definitely on point all the time. So this time around, we rented the garage space, and that just made our world so much easier. Everybody can just maintain their trailers as they normally maintain their trailers, and we lived basically out of the garage area. Um, we were also very fortunate at this time around to have the garage next to us. I mean, the station next to us vacant, so we kind of
Expanded
spread.
our
Yeah,
domain.
yeah. As we refer to it, we kind of man spread into that area. Um,
And we didn't even that much,
no,
too. I
we
mean, they were
didn't.
open the whole
We
time. We
actually
could have been doing a lot more in there, but I was trying to be reserved.
right, but I think it was because there was all the electric was run. It was lit from the time you left, so you never had to struggle with lighting. They had air. This particular track had air hoses attached to the poles, which was great. It was fully stocked because honestly, it is a full on NASCAR racetrack. So it just
Not how we were doing it.
yeah, and this time around, um, Chrissy couldn't make it from Three Pedal Mafia, so her and I had agreed to camp share. So she had prepared a boatload of food. I had prepared food, or our team had prepared food. My sister had prepared food, and I honestly believe that camp sharing takes a lot of weight off of the singular camp mom for feeding such large groups. And that would be something that I would definitely be interested in doing again. Um, just splitting that up and just feeding as a group would be wonderful if they decide to do that again. Because then again, the responsibilities are spread out. So it was definitely, this time around was incredibly easy, and I really enjoyed less work and more driving and more time to focus on the pit area and the car. Usually I'm working my butt off trying to feed everybody, take care of everybody, make sure things are organized. So it worked out well, I got to say. This was probably my favorite race, organization wise. So,
Yep, I agree.
Very nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and that food was delicious, by the way. I
We even got some of
Poked
Chrissy's
and I
mom's
saw-
cookies. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
yes. Hi, Chris's mom. Happy birthday. It was delicious. Yeah, it was stopping over. I had my brother in. We were actually camping right across the way, and a solid 1.5 to 2 minute walk from the food to where we were sleeping. So it was pretty
Although
tough.
Bennett took his bike for
But
that
yeah,
minute walk.
Yeah, and usually
well, it is better to have him on the bike.
yeah, bikes are essential. Also for new members that are coming out to do this, crock pots are wonderful. Bring two, and
Crock pots are your friend.
crock pots are your friend, and crock pot liners are even better. You just pull out your mess. You don't have to focus on the cleaning part, and then you slip another liner in, and you slip your frozen prepared food in there, and just prepared meals. We'll do an episode on food preparation next on the easiest way to feed your team.
Nice.
So we'll do that next time.
All right,
but
so
certainly,
let's pretend we went to the racetrack for racing our cars.
Okay. Racing our cars. This was a blast.
So, Vicky, you want to go over practice day and Alan?
Practice day was very exciting. The track in New Hampshire is definitely twisty, and my first time out with the truck, I didn't realize that there was a turn that went up the hill, so I just went right through the opening and decided that I was doing the NASCAR lap because I didn't know where it was taking me.
You were much faster.
So kind of went around. Second time around, I realized, well, basically it was practice. Nobody was on the track, so I was just kind of doing my thing. And of course, the guy in the flag's going, "Look, what the heck?" So
We
I ended
were
up
wondering why you were 40 seconds faster than the second.
Yeah, right. So I ended up going on the twist, and of course, I was driving the new truck this time, and getting used to the new truck. And that thing is a blast to drive. It hugs the ground, and if you just shift the weight from the back end to the front end right before you go in the turns, it hugs it so well. Had a blast with it. So I did a couple laps. Practice day was easy. By the time I got done, I kind of hopped out, passed the truck on to somebody else, and went out to go finish my paddock prep. So that was my practice day. How about you, Alan? How'd you manage?
Practiced went pretty well. I took out the truck. I think I started out with a Mustang. I did a lap in that or so. I don't even remember. It's such a blur. No, I took the truck out, and then that same right-hander that you mentioned, I put a little bit too much into second gear, and I just looped it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hiding behind the tire wall, next to the cement barrier, looking at oncoming traffic, thinking, "Geez, this isn't where I was supposed to go."
Was that the truck? Was that the truck?
So we waited 6. That was the truck.
I thought you looped the Mustang.
First. This time I did. At the end of the straight, I'm sure I did, or at least got close. But no, in the truck, first time out, right on practice, bam, looped it there, then wait for 6-8 cars, then I pull into line. All right, we got a couple laps and everything's going great. And that thing was fun. It definitely, we could use a little more weight in the back, a little more traction, but that thing's got a lot of fun left in it.
Yeah, it does.
And then, then trying to get off the track with the Mustang, I didn't know where the pit in was. Because apparently I didn't pay enough attention, and clearly didn't watch any videos of what the lap was before the race day. So yeah, I tried to turn around right at that cut through that Vicky just mentioned. I went through there and tried to turn left somehow to get into the pits and realized all the gates were locked. There's no chance. Then I look at the flaggers and they're like, "What is this, Jack? What
Now,
is he
aren't
doing?"
you so glad you weren't there on race day doing that?
Oh my God, I would have been. Yeah, they would have been a little more upset with me then. All the other racers. And
Oh my
everybody
God,
else,
you
but
really
it,
have to show up for practice.
Yeah.
At this
Practice is
point,
essential.
I would like to bring back to our weekly email that we have that says, "Hey, go look at this track walk video that we have." So perhaps we know the path since
Oh.
Mhm.
Vicky decided to truncate half the track and Alan didn't know how to get off it. Maybe we should do this the next time, just a guess.
Well, just like I say with my students, and I like to come into the problem fresh without any prior knowledge, so I struggle through just like they might. So
Throw
I'm trying
yourself
to
in.
really,
He's a man who
I'm
likes
just trying to help out
surprises.
here.
We
Yeah,
have
just throw it at me.
we have
Just drop me right in the fire.
we have enough options in areas where we have no prior knowledge. We don't need it for the track, shall we?
No, but once you got the hang of the track, then it was a breeze. It was a breeze, and I got it. I think my whole time I was watching your brother, Alan.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
right?
was, because he was like a baby bird out there. He was, and
Well, yeah.
he was so good on the team. He really was. Very easy.
He had a
And,
blast. He
you know,
was just trying to learn and see what's going on and check the dynamic. And he's been on he's done like a Ragnar and some of those other relay races and stuff like that. So it's just a different concept of teamwork and
Mhm.
racing and all that.
Yeah.
Especially with our team.
And he's not as well, yeah. He's not as deep of a gearhead as I am.
Yeah.
But he certainly
that up a
enjoys it. He he does what he can.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he's probably right along par with Bill as far as mechanical abilities. Maybe
That's
Yeah, but I
don't
think
know,
what it
something like
was that Dave just easily threw himself into wherever and whatever you needed. And
Yeah,
he took
yeah.
initiative, which was great. I mean, he was over there sorting the tools. He was over wherever you needed him, running gas cans. It didn't matter.
Yep.
He just saw a
Yep.
problem and he was just like, here, let me take that. So, and you
Yeah.
need that stuff on a team. You needed the initiative just to say, hey, there's a problem. Let me go ahead and step in.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we made it through practice, and then practice for everybody, just in case you're aware, is Fridays. Usually it's like 9 o'clock or so till about 4 or 5, depending on the track.
It's imperative that you do it.
Yeah,
You really,
especially your first trip to the track. We think it's really important. And then we did do a track walk that night with Chris Abbott leading the way, another Three Pedal Mafia friend. And I think we all got a ton out of that. So
Yes, and it almost seems like with the time, some of us got more out of that than others.
Mhm.
But that's a story for another day.
No, the track walks are very important, especially with knowledgeable people. They do certainly point out what to look out for, to point out what's going to happen to the track as the day goes, wet, dry. Having somebody that is experienced racing is huge knowledge to know. So if you're able to jump out there and do that, and find a group that's walking that do that every Friday at the races.
and if you see us out there, you can assume we're walking with somebody who knows something. So it might be worth it even to go with us.
Yeah. Every time you go, you learn a little bit more.
For sure.
So it's very important.
All right, so then we came out of practice, and then I think we had some work to do that night. Alan, didn't we have some Mustang love to give?
Oh, what did we do? What was Friday night's issues for the Mustang?
I think we had the intercooler breathing, and then the couple leaks. We started working on those. The power steering.
Yeah, we tried looking at the power steering. It was kind of it was a lost hope there. We just kind of flushed a little fluid through the system and just left it dry and raced it, and it worked great. The intercooler, yeah, we tried some with the hood off, hood on, that sort of thing. We thought maybe that might have been some of our issues. Clearly it wasn't. It was an electrical that we did sort out a bit later.
For the worst.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. What else do we have here? The electrical miss was definitely an issue.
Yeah.
And it plagued us for the whole time, except I think it was gone when Jen was out, but I'm not sure. I didn't get the post report. I don't know how our lap times looked or whatever, but
Yeah, so Friday
Yeah.
night we were looking pretty good going into Saturday. Saturday we started out. Vicky was first in. We like to give first runs to conservative drivers who won't get us into trouble. Um, that meant Vicky went out in the Ombre for the first run, and somehow I went out in the Mustang for the first run. So went out. I think I was out a few places ahead of Vicky. She got a little bit tangled up in the carpool lane, and so I'm going around the track, and all of a sudden I notice as I going into the, I guess they called it the bowl or the elbow. When I'm going straight, my steering wheel is about 60, 70 degrees to the left. So we're still under yellow, and I take the opportunity to pull into pit lane. I think I set the record for pit lane because I think I did 3/4 of a lap in yellow, and realigned our quick disconnect steering wheel so that the straight lined up with straight. So that made me feel a lot better. And then when I popped back out, um, I was dead even with our friends at Three Pedal Mafia. They had Black Betty, the RX-7, and one car behind Vicky. And since they were going to pass me anyway, I let them go. So it was basically Vicky and the Ombre, Three Pedal Mafia in between, and then I was following behind, and that's how we started the race. Vic, how did the truck go for race day?
Well,
After I
there's a
after I
story.
after I passed you, right?
Oh, I got flagged. I got flagged pretty hard too. So I did a lap. I think I did like two
Whoa.
laps, and I saw my number with the yellow flag and my number loud and proud sitting up there on the whiteboard. So I had to come in, and they basically said that I was driving through the yellow, which he said that wasn't even the problem. I said, getting a new car, there's a lot of going on here. But they were saying that I'm leaking fuel. So
Where were you leaking fuel from?
I was leaking fuel from the cap.
So
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 I
you
was
were
it was
cornered
splashing. It
so
was
hard.
Yes, it was splashing into the back end of the 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 truck. So they pulled me in. He said, you got one chance to fix it. One more time, you get called and you're out. So took it to the paddock area, had them look at it, and they just said it was a faulty cap. Wanted to go see if we could find a matching truck, but I don't think that was working out. So the guys tried to come up with a plan by maybe we had overfueled the car.
Overfilled?
Um, Overfilled, yes. So they had taken some fuel out of the gas line. They siphoned some gas out and tried to do something with the gas cap and set me back out, but it did not solve the problem. I got flagged one more time. I was greeted with the "Wish your team had really addressed that properly now, don't you?" So they said you're done for the day. So the truck had to go get parked, and that was the end of the Ombre for the weekend. Um,
Dun
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 dun dun, womp
dun.
womp.
So
So we had to shift all of our two race teams over into the Mustang now. So whatever was going to be about an hour and a half drive to 2 hours now was probably ended up being more like 45 minutes. And that was my race day. So I was out early. I was out very early, but at least the upside is that we know what the problem is. Um, the car did not come back damaged or in any kind of
well,
condition
we didn't use it,
because
so
yeah. Well, right. Well, this racetrack was definitely tricky.
yeah.
It had lots of bottlenecks that could definitely and have caused damage to vehicles in this race. So I'm very fortunate that we have a car to go take to Atlanta right now that is clean and ready to go. It just needs some adjustments to it.
Okay, so I'm in the car. I'm in the
Oh,
Mustang.
by the way, we call that Splashgate.
Yeah, it's Splashgate. Yeah, not the best
Yes.
not the best decision making plan we had there.
No, it wasn't.
So I'm in the car. I'm two spots behind Vicky, and the car in front of me is going to pass Vicky very quickly. Actually, congratulations to Bruce and the boys from Three Pedal Mafia. They ended up winning Class B and coming in, I think, sixth overall. So good job. As the paddock said,
Woohoo!
welcome to A. Um, so I pass Vicky, and she starts going a little bit behind. She's still getting used to the car, and I had driven Mustang before, so I'm going around. I'm out there, and I keep calling into the paddock saying, "Hey, I got to miss. Hey, I got to miss. Hey, I got to miss." And either they're ignoring me or telling me suck it up and deal. So I continue dealing, and then I end up getting through. I think we were shooting for an hour and a half. Like an hour 15 in, and the miss goes from it's a turbocharged car, so it has its normal turbo punch, and then I'm passing the other superhero car that we could pass, and all of a sudden it's kind of like somebody took the turbocharger and threw it out the window, and I have like very little power. Um, so I call in because I had just heard that Vicky's out, and I don't know if out means broken. I don't know if out means forever, and I don't know if out means crash. So I'm thinking we have 8 drivers, 9 drivers, um, and now we have one car. So I could keep driving like I'm being told to do, or I bring it in. Um, Turns out that we had some problems. I'm not sure if they were electrical or mechanical, but I didn't want to break the only car we had, so I bring it into the paddock straight to the garage and say, "This is what's going on," and we try and figure it out. So, Alan, this is the beginning of Mustang revival. So I think we were thinking it was heat, right? Was that the original?
Well, we were just kind of hoping. We borrowed a blower. We just put it right on top of the turbo in the intake and just try to let the car sit down and relax and cool for a bit. Because it did seem like about an hour and a half for about 2 drivers at the shorter time frame, and the car would go in from first stage misfire to second stage pile of junk. And we were just hoping we could cool it down and hopefully find
Right.
something that might make a difference. And we did find that there
Yeah,
was a spark plug
that was
that was bad.
classically bad. I hope we keep that. I think we sheared it vertically or axially, and I think about 60 or more percent of the ceramic insulator was missing.
Insulated.
Which my ceramic engineering skills tells me no bueno is the technical term for that. So I know we made, I don't know, probably 6 to 10 trips to the local car stores, multiple stores on each run. So eventually, what did we end up fixing? We ended up taking the spark plugs, the wiring.
We replaced a bad spark plug to begin with. We got that in, and then we proceeded to replace spark plug wires. We tried to put a cap and a rotor on. I got the cap on. I did not get a rotor on. In the process, put back in a broken screw for the distributor rotor, which destroyed itself in half a lap. Then we got that broken screw out. Then we got the cap and rotor on, and that's when we found out also that there was wiring issues to the distributor, and there was wiring grounding issues to the
that
motor.
took us, I think your 30-second, 40-second description took us 2 days to work through all that. So that was
Pretty much
interesting. So we ended up, I think, by the end of the weekend, we got everybody out. I think, is that right? Did we get everybody?
Yeah, we didn't get Jeff.
Everybody got race laps.
We didn't get Jeff.
Absolutely.
Jeff raced for an hour on Sunday. He was the starter.
Yeah, as long as everybody got out, that's all we really cared about.
No, everybody did.
Okay,
definitely.
And so we had the power steering leak, and then we had the oil leak, and Chris and Jeff.
Well, the oil leak, I wouldn't really categorize this as an oil leak. We just had some oil seepage from the oil cap that was tremendously loose by design, because it's a turbocharged motor, and when you push a little extra pressure in there, something's going to come out somewhere. And in this case, it was the oil cap, and then I think in the future we may want to look at a little bit less boost on that. It might save on our oil consumption.
Wasn't Chris and
budget
Jeff
there
talking about blow by? Wasn't that the oil blowing by or something?
Well, okay, so that's what happens when you have an internal combustion piston-ringed engine, is when you push extra pressure through it, it gets a lot more blow by.
I'm just used to people blowing by me on the track.
So that's the...
Oh, sorry.
Well, there's that too, yeah, but no, it's... and that's what you guys are going to check between your motors and see which one feels like it might be the tightest, and we'll move forward with that one. But dialing the pressure back to about 5 or 6 PSI, I think will cut back on a tremendous amount of blow by.
So we ended up working late into the night. Well, not late. Late would have been Thompson. We ended up working into the night on Saturday, and when Jeff went out on Sunday, almost got the same stint as I did, about an hour, and then he had that same big power drop, and that led to all the related no ground, melted wiring harness. I don't even remember what else there was. There was that picture of the distributor cap, I think.
Distributor
Yeah,
cap. Yep,
so-
that's the one I killed. There was also the differential drain and refill for pin check because we thought our rear axle was going to slide out.
That's right. Yeah.
You forgot about that. No, come on now. We did find so many things that we can accomplish at the track. We've done, coil changeovers. We've done cap rotor wires. We've done timing with timing lights. We've done
tank.
Fueling, of course. We're great with that. Fuel tank reseals. Yeah, we've done a lot of really good things. We drained and refilled that diff and put a good eye on it. I have no idea what it was. I just opened it up a little bit, but there's lots of good things we've come across, and we knocked them out.
And we're on a first name basis with all three of the local parts stores. I don't even have to go in. They just say, "Hey, Bill, what's up? What do you need now?" And
so we really tried our hardest to get that back out.
So after the last next to the last fixing round, Jim got out there for another couple laps, and then he heard that big boom on the front straightaway, and we thought we were dead for the weekend, and so did Lemons, and a lot of people were laughing. Do you remember what that was? The big boom? Was that the screw loose?
So they were all hoping that we were done. Okay, so that was the deal. The distributor rotor, there's a cap and rotor for distributor cars. The distributor rotor, one of the screws broke. And I looked at it like, all right, if that screw's broken in there, there's no way I'm getting this thing apart. It's terminal. So I said, let's just put the cap on, put the rotor on with one screw and see what happens. And it lasted about half a lap. And
it was only in the middle of the second lap.
Whatever it is. And then, and that was it. So that basically what that meant was we had to get it back in the pits. Then I take the cap off. I had to take vice grips on the bottom of the threads of said broken screw, back them out, right? They wouldn't come out right the first time they broke out. So I had to back them out with vice grips, then take the Dremel and grind off some of the head because it didn't shear off clean enough to send it right down through. So then once we ground the head of that off, then we spun it back through with said vice grips, along with copious amounts of encouragement from Mr. Wakeman. Oh yeah, you got it. It's doing something. Oh yeah. Because at any point along the way, I definitely would have been like, wow, it's done. We're done. So he's like, no, you guys, it's moving. Oh yeah, keep going. Yeah, a little more. Yeah, that's going the right way. So thankfully, we had that going on. So we got it back out. We got the new parts back in that Bill did get.
I think we made one more trip run for parts. And then we got the car, and I think this was when it finally started to run like it wanted to, and that's when Jennifer got in, right?
Right. Yeah, we finally got the ground sorted out. We got the wiring to the distributor sorted out. We got the timing sorted out. Spark plug wires, spark plugs.
You guys did the harness, I think, right?
We did. Yeah, we did about a foot section of the harness right off the distributor. Was just so no insulation left on those wires at all.
Yeah, so we had basically random shorts, right?
They were shorted out all over the place. We tried to take the split loom off, and everything just corroded, and it was just raw wire everywhere. It was quite an exciting scene. Again, another terminal situation that Jeff's like, no, just connect those wires. All right, we got some wire. Let's go. We didn't have to send Shop Panda out to find parts with the sandwich board that time. But we did find some wiring, and we got that back going. And I think it's a running motor. I mean, if
I mean,
the wheels were from what I could tell with Jennifer, still drive that thing.
From what I could tell with Jennifer on the track, her times were good. She didn't run out of gas this time like she did on Saturday, which is another.
Right.
That's our fault, not hers. She started running well. It stalled once or twice, but she's still learning how to drive a stick. And then our day ended.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yes. Okay, so we were called by Jen because I think it was like the last 35 minutes of the race or so, and Bill just told her on the radio, just stay out there. But we did not have power steering at this point. Was not an issue. It just made the car harder to drive. You really, yeah.
Now, I just want to interject just a little bit there, because you didn't have power steering the last time you raced it either, or any point during the weekend
Right,
with
but
this
I
car.
got to
But
tell you
it
too.
might have
I'm gonna
happened.
hold on. Let me interrupt that though, because Jennifer and I never raced the car.
Yeah,
We
they
raced the car.
Imagine
Yeah,
that.
great.
we raced the car at the very end of the day. So, um, it was not having power steering was tiring Jennifer out. And when I was in
Yeah, I
also,
got you.
I was like, wow, this thing is really difficult to turn. But I mean, definitely when you move in, it's definitely easier. But when you were slow, you really had to lay on it to turn it. So, um,
Welcome to the 70s.
I know. So, she was getting tired. She radioed in, said she doesn't want to finish the race out. So they were going to put Bennett in next. So Bennett and I ran no gas cans. We went right to pit row, and waited for her to come in. We signaled her to come in. She gave the wave, and was on her last lap. As she was coming around to the last the S turn bottleneck, um, Ben and I were sitting waiting, saw her coming around. She was getting in position to come in, but then she said that the bottleneck that was coming at her, she could not get over, so she adjusted to start going straight. She decided she was going to go do another pass, which was the right thing to do. A lot of race cars were in that situation there. They were in that corner. So just as that happened,
Well,
the
I got
race
to I got to
passing.
talk I got to talk to Jen for an hour over this.
Okay, go ahead.
So there's kind of a series of S turns coming into the front straightaway. Uh,
Very tight S turns.
well, they're wide, and then they're tight, and then they're wide, and then they're tight. So Jen is not the fastest driver out there. So we had two faster cars, and one car was going to pass her on the inside, and one car was passing her on the outside. Unfortunately, going on to the front straightaway, you want the cars to kind of track out a little bit towards the right hand wall, and the car on the inside came in a little early, so ended up hitting Jennifer on the front left, sheared one of our hood pins, and forced her to make a right into the car that's passing on the right. That car then proceeds, I believe, I didn't see it, I saw the end.
That one spun out.
That one spun out, I think may have hit the wall.
No, he didn't hit the wall.
Did not hit the wall. Okay.
No.
So
Oh, he might have.
by the time I got there, Jennifer and the outside car were sitting basically parked on top of each other.
And
Uh,
and just as she was coming around, and because she made those two hits, I saw the hood fly up and hit the windshield,
yeah,
and then come back down. And that's when Bennett proceeded to say, as Jennifer was rolling to a stop, "Am I still driving?" I
yeah,
just busted up laughing.
yeah.
I'm like, "No, honey, no, sweetie, I think we're done."
She hadn't even stopped rolling yet, and yeah, that was good. So he's got it
Oh,
fairly
good.
straight. He's a race driver, and
Yes,
you know the reason for this, because race car.
because race car.
So anyway, Jennifer decided to pretend she was the cream in the Oreo. Hit on the left side into the right side. We end up getting the car towed back in. I believe the front is squished lengthwise, shifted to the right, and also shifted from left to right, up and down. So I think we've got all three axes possible of being bent
Mhm.
taken
They
care of.
basically said we
Oh,
we
we can just about
we
guarantee
cracked
that.
the crash frame, I think is what they had said.
Crumple zone, I think it is, or
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
it was not
So so it was interesting. I think from when Chris was trying to put the car onto the trailer, it goes to the right very well now. Straight 50-50 and left is not so easy.
good. Yeah,
So
she felt
so
so bad. Oh my gosh, she felt so bad. But the only thing that was hurt, I mean, Jennifer's fine. The only thing that was hurt was her feelings.
and
Um,
I
yeah,
feel bad for the car that's on the outside because he really didn't do anything, but he was.
no, I think that was Coca-Cola car. I
I,
knew I knew they were in serious trouble when they had to pick their bumper off and put it in the back window, and they
yeah,
kind of bought them off. Yeah,
I went over to apologize to him, but they were, let's go with a little warm. So I didn't, but I apologized to the rest of the team. I couldn't apologize to the driver. So official apologies from our team. I don't think
Yeah.
there was anything Jennifer could have done, and
Mhm.
I believe the car,
It's
yeah,
racing.
I believe the car on the inside kept running, and the car on the outside came in, but I think it kept running as well. So hopefully they finished the race and had some
Yeah.
fun. So
On
moment
the
of
plus
silence.
side, I just think yes, more science for the Mustang. Long
Yes.
live the
Yeah, I
Mustang.
was under the assumption that Jennifer had a corrective issue when she was coming into pit row, but so that was my assumption when I had seen it, but I didn't notice the other car that tapped her and kept going. And if I had seen that, then I would definitely have had a different opinion. So
Well,
um,
it was still early in the turn,
it
and
was, yeah,
you can't really see
Yeah, you
down there.
couldn't see that.
yeah,
So spiders.
But on the plus side, you guys need to know that car, the list of things to fix on the car that we were racing was like 2 pages long as we
yeah.
were racing
I
it.
was actually,
And they weren't little like just clean the side mirror and just touch up the paint on the
yeah.
passenger's door.
Well,
That wasn't
I'm
the
actually
fixes we had.
not hurt that the car is gone, because it was a constant issue when I honestly felt going to the race, I was actually paying to fix our car. So,
Right.
having more reliable vehicles, definitely, but I can't say that as much work as the Mustang was taking, it was not panning out for us. So I'm glad it's gone. I'm ready to work on another vehicle when it comes.
I think the learning we got from was
Yeah,
immense. I think it's awesome. I hopefully my radiator that we put in is still alive and
yeah,
kicking. We can keep working on that. The drivetrain and all that. We're going to focus that onto the one car, which I think is great. And it just kind of frees up our mindset for
yeah. I think
you know.
also that that the Capri would be a little easier. It's a simpler car to work on than trying to struggle with that turbo boost. Um, so switching over the Capri and knowing what we're going to do to it, and then put into it, and then have our own hands on it. We won't have the surprises we did with the Mustang.
Are we theming the
Yeah, I
same?
don't
Is
think
that
we're going.
staying where it is
I
with
think
the
we're going to
Mustang?
leave that one
Okay.
as it is for now. Um,
For now.
yeah, for now. I'd like to get through a racing season before I actually do a switch.
All right.
Very nice. Isn't this
Yeah, but
officially the end
as
of the
for next
season?
year,
Isn't this?
I would
All
like
right.
to get through a racing
Oh, I
season.
got you. I
Yeah,
got
I would like to get through a racing season with our
Well,
cars that run.
I, I think first priority is to redo the Ombre, and then
Yeah,
second would be to
I
redo
can
the
I
Capri.
can redo the ombre. Um,
All right. So for everybody who's been paying attention, first place in this race was number 9, the Scooby Doobies. They had an awesome car.
it
Car looks
was
great. Their
it was awesome.
costumes were even better this week than I had seen in the past.
Hmm.
They came in first. Really shortly thereafter, number 888, the Mome Wrath Racing Team came in second. It was very close. I think they had a little bit of an issue there, and they got slowed down a little bit. I thought they were on pace to win, and I think they were the race lead after day one. Special shout out to the number 43 Three Pedal Mafia Black Betty car. They came in sixth. They came in first in B, so they will now be an A car. And they were followed quickly after them by the 71 Three Pedal Mafia car, the Cheaties, orange Cheaties car. Our two garage mates came in sixth and seventh, and technically we were part of Three Pedal Mafia this week, and let's say we kept the average high. Our best car came in. Oh, let's scroll all the way down to the bottom. We came in.
Woohoo! We're still there.
Yep, keep
I'm here. Keep looking. I'm down
they came
here.
in sixth, seventh, and we screwed the average up a little bit by coming in 95th. We did fight off the 3-digit finish for one of our cars. So we came in fifth, 95th, and Vicky had the fast lap in the truck, which came in 110th. There was 120 cars entered. We physically, 2 of them started and finished less laps than we did.
Hmm.
So we came in 110 out of 112 who actually started. There was 120 entered and 112 ran. There was a few cars that didn't ever get out. Vicky had the fastest lap in the Ombre. She had the slowest lap in the Ombre. She also had all
No
of the laps.
laps in the right.
So 16 laps.
I'm very
None of them.
excited about driving that truck. It may be my new favorite vehicle.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Now wait, coming into the race, that was not your favorite, was it?
No, she
No,
didn't really.
I've really never driven it. It was uncomfortable at the moment um, to drive and to the stiffness of the vehicle. But as I started better understanding the track and what to expect on the track and how to shift the weight on the vehicle, um, it became much easier to drive. I lost the back end at one point coming around a turn. I drifted, and I didn't mean to drift, and I'd never drifted before, so they called me in.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, they called me in because they thought I tapped or did something on the track, and I'm like, nope, I didn't do anything. So I think it was just they heard the drift, and they called me in. So, but no, it's a fun vehicle to drive. I can't wait for you to try it out.
Okay, so good, bad, and the ugly. What did we learn? Vicky, you want to go first?
The good, definitely in the paddock. Got to get a paddock.
Garage.
Yeah, get the garage, and the paddock area is freaking awesome. Out of the
Bad.
wind, out of the hut. Oh, the bad. Our decision on the gas cap. We
Okay.
could have definitely done that better.
Well, especially when it's one strike and you're out.
Yes, yeah, that was a sad
Yeah.
situation right there. But unless we actually tried to track down a new gas cap, I think they just wanted to get me out. So that was that wasn't the smartest decision for all of us. But we made the best decision we could at the moment, and it did not work. So
Anything ugly?
ugly. No, I can't say I had any ugly in this one, except for losing the Mustang and the situations with that. But no, I got to say this week was a success for us in our learning phase.
Yeah. Alan, I cut you off before. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to jump in on her good, bad, and ugly. But then I was like, wait, I got my own.
So Alan, why don't you do some good?
The good, I think the good was I had my brother and my son there on the racetrack. That was pretty exciting. I think that I got some good laps in both cars.
Did you really get good laps in?
It was. Yes, I felt very good about my laps while I was out there racing.
So we're not
fast.
breaking the family secret
really
here.
Good about them. We don't need to talk about any of those family secrets just yet. So that was good. Yeah, we had a bunch of people out there. We had a garage that was awesome. Not to change the subject. The food was awesome, right? Always lots of good food to eat. There was a sandwich thing there. I didn't actually get to buy food inside, but whatever. Let's see. The bad was, I'll take some of that for making some of these decisions for sending the car back out there and some of that. We probably could have made a little better decisions in the pits, but on the plus side, nobody was hurt. The cars weren't hurt.
We have another vehicle for Atlanta.
Right. And we just weren't as safe as we should have been, but I mean, anybody that knows us should know that. Let's see the bad.
Anything ugly?
The good, the bad, the ugly. The ugly, I think, was just I don't know. There was I don't know. There was a little too much work for me in the pits, but to me, I felt that it was someone was just throwing a couple things at me just to test me to see what I could do. And I think I'm going to turn that ugly into it was just all the extra challenges were great. I think the only ugly was sorry about this, but having to see Bill at my house at 11 o'clock at night on the way home.
That was pretty bad.
But on the plus
with
side,
a flat
it was pretty
tire.
dark out, so I think we all made it out all right. So what about you, Bill? Good, bad, ugly?
Anyway.
What'd you have?
Good. I really, I really think the best thing about this was that we learned a bunch. I really want to give a thank you to I should do this every single race so far, but the entire Three Pedal Mafia team, and for Jeff and Jim for agreeing to race with our band of idiots. I think we got so much out of their help and guidance, and Jeff pushed in ways that we might not have, and
I love
Jim,
Jeff.
and Jim helped in a ton of ways, and Chrissy helping organize it was just And then Chris came over and, gave his input and insight into mechanical stuff because they were having a little bit of trouble with his car. I think I think that car might be toast, but so that was good, and I'd like to thank them as always.
Thank you, Three Pedal Mafia.
Yeah, they are awesome,
They are awesome.
and just in case anybody missed it before, we did get some of Chrissy's mom's cookies.
Thank
and
you.
They are awesome.
They are awesome.
And if I didn't get on the pictures,
Thank you,
happy
Chrissy's
birthday.
mom.
I missed it this weekend, so.
That's right. It was
Happy birthday.
so bad. We we could have made some better decisions. We could have done some things a little better. I think the thing that I don't like personally, I tend to be a preparation monster. I think bringing either car not fully running perfectly is a bad idea. I wasn't able to get the air out of the clutch line for the Ombre. My bad. I don't think Alan was able to really root out all the problems in the Mustang because it's hard to do in a driveway. You need to kind of get up to speed, and none of these cars are road legal. So we got to kind of figure something out there. Maybe there's a trick. If anybody knows anything, please let us know because we're stupid. Ugly was man, ugly. I don't think we had too much ugly. I'm glad that everything's fine with the Mustang, and everything I hope was fine with the other two cars. Jennifer's good. The only thing ugly was losing that Ombre early to me. Oh, ugly. I'm sorry. I do have something ugly. The wiring in the Mustang was butt ugly, even to me who doesn't know what it should be.
I'd like to revise
"Ugh."
my prior comments
So-
that wiring was ugly. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it was interesting. It was one step away from pickup sticks. So in the end, I think we have grown over these three races so far. Our first race, while everything mechanically went well, I think we were still a bit of a mess. The second race, when we did two cars, we were more than a bit of a mess. This race, I don't feel like we were a total disaster. And again, probably the help of Three Pedal Mafia, especially Jeff and Jim and Chris. I think we did a much better job. And, hopefully for our next race in Atlanta, we will be good to go. So, Alan, we're going to be racing in Atlanta. Are you going to be able to get there?
Getting there is the only issue. I think we're going to have to book a flight. I think Vicky and I need to get some airline tickets so we can fly down Thursday afternoon sometime somewhere out of Scranton and then and get down there. And I'll just have to come back late on Sunday night and just yell at my kids on Monday morning. That's how I roll.
All right. Well, like I said, I'll take all the help I can get down there because we've got 3 guests flying in from Salt Lake. Well, actually Park City. And I'd really like to get them some good laps out there. So that's a need to know basis. We'll cover that on one of our upcoming episodes. So anything else we want to cover?
I think we're good.
Alan?
Yeah, no, I think we're in good shape. There'll be some aero updates for the truck for the next race. I'll start prepping and taking down what we need to take down to get to the other repairs sorted out. We will continue the bleeding of clutch slave and master situation because that is not a finished project. I think more
we need to work
trailer
on
prep to go.
our spoiler.
Our what now?
I think we need to work on our spoiler. We might need some new ideas.
Oh, for the
See what we
back.
can do. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've already got 3 different skateboard ramps on the truck as we speak. And we're working on some aero in the front too. I've put the call out to several different people around my area, some students and the like. Hey, we need this, we need this going on. I think I requested a 4-foot rear spoiler, but I might drop it to 3-foot just because I wouldn't want to be too audacious.
Okay.
Just not my style. We can always do winglets.
I'm just not sure the skateboard ramps they might be a little too lemons.
No. These just for modeling. This is just for shaping and curvature.
Oh, just for shape. Okay.
This is just for visual. I'm not, it's not the final rendition. I'm a visual kind of guy. I need to see it in place. I need to see what it looks like and that sort of thing. And I'm trying to work on driver visibility out the back. So I want to have the bottom of the wings right at the top of the rear window. So
Okay.
that's going to be your fun now over Thanksgiving to get that stuff sorted out if I don't get any of that done.
No worries. Well, hopefully you'll be able to come to Thanksgiving. If not, just
Ab-
we'll have fun, and there's going to be great food.
Absolutely.
So this was our first episode, and if you liked it, please let us know with a review. Again, if you have a question, put it into the reviews. We'd love to answer them. We don't know a lot, but we may know somebody who may know the answer, so we'll reach out to them. If you're truly a glutton for punishment and want to hear more of our debacles, you can also follow us at the Garage Heroes in Training on Instagram and Facebook, and our website, which is creatively titled garageheroesintraining.com. And if we can do this, anyone can. And we'd love to see you out there, so come out with us and enjoy the ride. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think we might have actually done one in one go. This was only the 6th time.
This sounded pretty darn awesome.
Well, I don't know about that, but when you do 26 times to get one episode for the Everyone Racers, this
Yes, but this one is completed.
maybe.